All right, this is interesting. According to Frank Warren, the reason why Dillian Whyte is in arbitration with the WBC is over money, specifically over purse splits. Now, apparently as the interim champion, Dillian Whyte is entitled to 45% against Tyson Fury. But apparently the WBC don't want to grant him that. They only want him to get 15 or 20% against Fury, which would be what a normal mandatory challenger would get. So this, according to Warren, is what the issue is behind the scenes. And Warren also says, very interestingly, that Dillian Whyte's last purse was just £300,000. I guess that's about $500,000, $500,000. Now, he chooses his words very carefully here. He says, facts are facts, and he lodged his last purse as being £300,000. And he goes on to say it again here. Look, he says, because the purses that were submitted in his last fight, Whyte said he got £300,000. So there seems to be, from, reading between the lines here, some suggestion that that might not actually be Dillian Whyte's purse, but rather what he lodged with the British Boxing Board of Control. So is there some way that Dillian Whyte actually got paid a lot more than this? I don't know why he would put less than he actually got paid, down on paper with the British Boxing Board. I don't know. But that's what Frank Warren seems to be suggesting, to me at least, my interpretation of this. And £300,000 seems a very low figure for Dillian Whyte. I know that the restrictions over the past 18, 19 months have caused fighters to get paid a lot less, but it was still a pay-per-view event, Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin. And there was some fans there, right? The fight took place in Gibraltar. I know Dillian Whyte likes to put a lot of good fights on his undercard, and, that costs money. But did he really just get 300 grand against Alexander Povetkin? Maybe he did. Maybe we've just been overestimating what Dillian Whyte is actually getting paid for these pay-per-views. And as such, you would understand why he is really gunning for this 45% split against Tyson Fury, because that's really up in the multi-millions. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Dillian Whyte trying to get 45% as interim champion, which I'm sure there's somewhere in the WBC's rule book which says that an interim champion can get that kind of split. But for some reason, they're trying to give him apparently just the standard mandatory challenger split, which is 15 or 20%. Now, when I say give him, the WBC are not the ones who are paying the purses. They're just coming up with who gets what, they're just deciding the percentages. It is the networks and the promoters that come up with the purses. So, bear that in mind. It's not like the WBC are being generous or stingy. They're not the ones holding the pot. They're just the ones who decide how the pot is divided. So, yeah, it's interesting. Does this mean that the fight is unlikely? Does this mean that this arbitration is going to carry on for several weeks or months? How stubborn will Dillian Whyte be? How much will he dig his heels in? Eddie Hearn, in a recent interview, Dillian Whyte's, promoter, who he works with on a fight-by-fight basis, called the 80-20 purse split outrageous. He seems to believe that Dillian Whyte deserves a lot more than that. But again, Frank Warren is coming from the perspective, and I guess the WBC too, of if Dillian Whyte was only paid 300 grand for his last fight, paying him 45% against Tyson Fury is outrageous. I did watch this interview here with Kevin Barry, the former trainer of Joseph Parker. And as you can see in the title of the video, he says, what is Whyte thinking? And he's saying the same thing that I've been saying in recent videos, that Dillian Whyte may have upset the WBC with all the pressure he's put on them. And obviously you have to put a certain amount of pressure on them, but you have to know when to apply the pressure and how much, and when to ease up a little bit, when to be a bit diplomatic. You have to be tactful. You can't just be full steam ahead, trying to railroad everyone in every situation at every single time. Because some people don't like being treated in a certain way. They don't like being spoken to in a certain way. And if you do speak to them and treat them in that particular way, they're going to push back and it's going to backfire. Certainly if they've got any type of leverage over you. And that's what Kevin Barry said in this interview. What is Whyte thinking? Suing the WBC, right? Taking them to court when he's on the brink of getting his title shot. And he suggests that the WBC are not going to do you any favors if that's what you're doing. He also says that Tyson Fury punches holes in Dillian Whyte all day long. He doesn't seem to think that's a particularly competitive fight. Whatever the case may be, he is definitely echoing my sentiments in that. Look, I'm not saying that it's not going to work out well for Dillian Whyte. I'm just entertaining the possibility that the WBC are making it deliberately difficult for him because of the fact that he's been so vocal about the way he's been treated. And remember, lots of fans have been abusing Mauricio Sulaiman on Twitter and social media over the past few years over this Dillian Whyte situation. I don't think Mauricio Sulaiman is used to that. Fighters trying to turn the public against him like that. I don't think he's used to that. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.